One thing that sets the Super Mario Bros. Franchise apart from its other competitors is its memorable selection of enemies that you have to make your way through to rescue the princess, leaving you with an unforgettable experience with little to no downsides. However, from time to time, there are foes that sort of slip through the cracks and become what is the topic of today's video, forgotten. Where here, I'm going to go through each and every entry in the series and point out a few notable ones, where you can find them, and what exactly they do. Oh yeah, and before we get started here, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel, hitting that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. The very first game to come out in the franchise is Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985. Having only one enemy I somehow completely looked over and had forgotten, which is the gray version of the Cheep Cheep. These can only be found in the underwater stages of World 2-2 and World 7-2, and act differently from the normal red ones as they move a bit slower and don't deviate from their path too much. This isn't a huge thing, but enough for me to at least have forgotten about this strange variant, and because most others in this title are memorable, this one sticks out to me. The Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2 is actually a reskin of a game inspired by our mustachioed hero called Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic. Changed as the Japanese release was deemed too complicated for American audiences, so therefore, there are a lot of enemies that only appear here and are left out of future installments. Ones that I had completely put out of my mind include the Tweeter, which is a bird-like thing that hops around the stages they're found in, the gray and red colored Bezos, who are sort of like flying Shy Guys that really try to get in your way, the Porcupo, which is a spawny hedgehog that can't be picked up at all, and the Flurries, which are snowman-like creatures that move super fast on slippery platforms. There really are many others that I could have included. These are just ones that I found notable. But if there are some that I did miss, then please let me know in the comments below. The final of the original NES trilogy is Super Mario Bros. 3 that came out for the system in 1991. Having a few foes I want to look at that were lost in my mind, beginning with a pretty common enemy in the Fire Bros. Now, I didn't realize this is where the Fire Bros originated from, and this is sort of justified as they only appear in two places, as an enemy arena level in World 2, and in a hand trap level of World 8. I totally thought New Super Mario Bros. For the DS was the first time these bros appeared, as in this third game you really can just miss them or skip them completely, so it's understandable how they can be forgotten. The other I really want to mention is the super weird Buster Beetle that's able to pick up white blocks and throw them towards you, trying to hurt you. Found within the Skyland of World 5 and the Iceland of World 6. In later games, this foe is basically replaced by the spikes, so that's why you don't see them, which is a bit disappointing as they are a great enemy, but that's why they make this video. The first handheld game to be released in the series is Super Mario Land for the Game Boy in 1989, where there are two enemies I want to look at that I forgot about, starting with the Bombshell Koopa that has a really strange mechanic. When you stomp on this turtle, its shell doesn't become usable as normal, and instead turns into a bomb that eventually explodes and deals damage to you if you're in its vicinity. Something that's annoying and sort of comes out of left field, as that's a thing that's not usually associated with the Koopas. The second foe that I always forget about is the Pyompi of the Chai Kingdom, as they don't show up in any other entry, and also the character sprite is super underwhelming to the point where you're not even sure what you're looking at. These things don't die by normal methods, as if they're stomped on, they just get temporarily stunned, needing to be shot twice by a Super Ball, or by the use of a star to destroy them. But either way, they always surprise and confuse me when I see them, as I still don't know exactly what they're supposed to be. Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System is such an iconic game that it was hard to pick one enemy from the list that I have forgotten. But there is at least one that I for some reason blocked out of my memory in the Mega Mole. This is a larger version of the Monty Mole that only shows up in Chocolate Island 4 and Valley of the Bowser 2, sporting a fancy pair of sunglasses, which is a very random sight. These foes are invulnerable to any jump attacks, as well as fireballs, but can't be harmed if you use Cape Mario's spin attack, as well as a star, or if you hit it with something like a shell. You can also ride on the back of these things, which is helpful in some instances to platform up or forwards, or to pass by certain hazards to find secrets. The second of the Land handheld series, here called the 6 Golden Coins, came out for the Game Boy in 1992, having 3 enemies I want to look at that fit the context of this video, starting with the Aqua Goombas. These are literally just Goombas that are wearing old school scuba diver helmets, found in the final stage of the Turtle Zone, But oddly, they don't reside in water, so I'm not sure why they're wearing this apparatus. Also, when you bonk off them, they propel you somewhat high up in the air, which is only helpful right in this specific spot, but otherwise it's pretty useless. Next, I want to look at an enemy called the Collector, a sort of witch-like thing found in the final stage of the macro zone. This foe acts a lot like Nabbit, as it steals 1-up hearts from question mark blocks and runs away with them, where you have to chase after them and defeat them to get your prize. Finally, the last bad guy from this game I want to look at is the Kuryo Kurya, which is a vampire-like enemy that throws bats towards you as its main method of attacking you. This demon of the night can only be found in the first stage of the pumpkin zone, defeated by normal means, so it's not super special, but it is hidden a bit as it appears on the alternate path towards the bonus goal. Next up is the sequel/prequel to Super Mario World that also came out for the SNES, but in 1995, titled Yoshi's Island. Having so many random forgotten enemies that I'm just going to quickly go through each one and tell you exactly what they do. These include the Aqua Lakitu that hides underwater and pops up only to throw spiny eggs at you, the Thunder Lakitu that throws balls of energy towards you, the Barney Bubbles that are purple foes that just run quickly back and forth, the Boo Balloons, which are just boos in the shape and form of balloons, the Boo Man Bluffs, which are blindfolded versions of the ghosts that use sound to try and track you, the Bouncing Bullet Bills that actually bounce off of walls in the pursuit to get you, the Hot Lips, which is a lava frog-like being that spits lava at you, the Mace Guy and the Mace Penguin, who both wield giant mace balls, which is just odd, the Relay Hio, who are just boo guys that play hot potato with the bomb, the Stretch, who are thin and tall shy guys that spit out an endless amount of watermelon seeds when jumped on, and lastly, the Zeus Guy, that shoots balls of energy at Yoshi from afar, but will throw hands and feet instead if you get too close. The first to come out based within the 3D realm is Super Mario 64 for the N64. Having only one enemy I could say I failed to remember in the Sniffits, that swell up to a big size then fire bullets at Mario trying to harm him. Now, I'm familiar with the Fly Guys, which are somewhat similar but breathe fire at you instead of hot lead. But to be fair, those show up way more in this game, where the Sniffits only appear in Hazy Maze Cave and in the Cavern of the Metal Cap. The next to come out, also based within the 3D realm, is Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube in 2002, which for some reason has limited enemies, so I really could only find one foe to look at in the blue pad. I won't lie, I can't say I remember this goofy round-looking octopus thing at all during my playthroughs. Found only in Rico Harbor that jumps out of the water from time to time. When you spray or jump on them, they momentarily turn into platforms that you can platform on. Although, it's not really necessary, as most times in this game the FLUDD is just enough to use. Nintendo would return the series to its 2D roots with new Super Mario Bros. For the dual-screen system. Having two enemies I want to look at, starting with one I swear Nintendo forgot about in the Snailcorn. Really, I just want to highlight the Snail/Unicorn hybrid because it's a fan favorite that hasn't shown up in any game in the series except this one. Here also being pretty rare to find, as it's located only in specific spots of World 5. The other is an enemy I thought was related to the Jacko Goombas, but it actually turns out it isn't in the Splunkin, a sort of walking pumpkin found in some of the game's ghost houses. It takes 2 stomps with Mario to defeat this weird thing, with them getting angry after the first hit, making them walk faster at you. Up next is the space-based Super Mario Galaxy Wii entry that came out for the system in 2007, where really the only baddie I want to look at is the Torpedo Ted, mainly because I thought it was exclusive to Soda Lake and Super Mario World. In this one, they are found only in the buoy-based galaxy and the Drip-Drop Galaxy, being fired from cannons where they then hone in on you, only being defeated via Superstar or if they crash into another object. The second installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii in 2009, featuring an enemy that hasn't made an appearance since the original trilogy in the Rocky Wrenches. I definitely forgot about these foes, mainly because here they only show up in the airship of World 6, acting the exact same as always, just popping up from their manholes to throw wrenches towards you. I know that this isn't that out of place of a foe, but at least notable as it's barely used anymore in 2D Mario experiences. The sequel to Super Mario Galaxy came out also for the Wii, but this time in 2010, where one enemy in it almost seems like a fake fan creation made just for the memes in the Digga. This one's found primarily in the Spin Dig Galaxy. where these yellow bullets with drills for noses travel in circular patterns on the planets they reside on, needing to bonk them to defeat them, which is kinda easy as they move pretty slow. The other I want to look at that I had also forgotten about are the Micro Mecha Bowsers, which I believe are supposed to be smaller versions of the Mecha Bowser boss from Super Mario Sunshine. These even act similarly as they spin in place and breathe fire towards you. Defeated only by a ground pound, so you do have to be careful when you're trying to get close to them. Nintendo would perfectly blend aspects of the series' 2D and 3D realms with the release of Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS. Only having one foe I can say seems out of place to me every time I see it in the Draglet. These are little dragon blob things that spit fireballs at you when you get close, somewhat resembling the dino creatures that you would come across in Super Mario World. I don't know exactly what it is about these creatures, they just sort of feel like they don't fit into the Mario realm. Although I could be wrong, so let me know in the comments if I'm an idiot. The third installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series is titled New Super Mario Bros. 2, which came out for the 3DS in 2012, where the one type of baddies I want to look at are the mini Goombas, mainly because they have an attack feature that I had forgotten about. When these things go after Mario, they actually attach to him and weigh him down, only being cleared away if you jump repeatedly, which is kind of annoying. There's also the golden version, which occurs if you jump through a gold ring, mainly showing up in the second course of the Gold Mushroom DLC pack, giving you coins if you defeat them, which isn't anything special. The final installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii U, then was later released in deluxe version on the Switch. Having two enemies I want to look at that got burned from my memory, starting with the Bony Beetle. This foe premiered in Super Mario World only in the Vanilla Fortress stage, here showing up in a few tower and castle levels, which periodically sticks out spikes from its back that try to hurt you. I'm not sure why they'd make an undead enemy this OP, as you can't bonk off it to defeat it, so you have to use other means to do so. The other is the Mecha Cheep, found only in the Mighty Cannon Ship stage of the Soda Jungle, being invulnerable to fireballs, so you have to use an Ice Flower or a Superstar to kill them. These just swim endlessly in a straight line, so they're super easy to avoid and sort of pointless in my personal humble opinion, so yeah. A sort of sequel to Super Mario 3D Land was eventually released for the Wii U in the form of Super Mario 3D World in 2013, where the only enemies from it I feel like are worth mentioning are all of the different types of ants. Now these creatures are new to the Mushroom Kingdom, as a bunch of different ones appeared in Super Mario Land 2 for the Game Boy, where here they come in three forms: the normal, the horned, and the big ones. Nothing too crazy special about these insects, it's just I feel like their inclusion doesn't really fit the traditional Mario theme. But then again, they do have to break the mold sometimes, so I get it. Next up is the absolutely massive Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Having one enemy that's strange as it isn't capturable, but still helps you out in the place they're found in the Trap Beetles. Located only in the Lost Kingdom, these foes steal Cappy if it's tossed towards them, and then uses Cappy themselves, sending it back at Mario exploding on contact. This can be used to break otherwise unbreakable blocks, so you can gain access to parts of the kingdom that are blocked off. Something that unfortunately only is used a few times in a few specific spots, so it makes sense why this foe isn't that popular. The final game of this video, and most recent in the franchise, is Super Mario Bros. Wonder that came out for the Nintendo Switch in 2023. Having a few enemies I can't say I remembered at all even though I played this game pretty recently, starting with the Hoo Hoo. These are owls that are found only in the Pokepeed Pass stage of the Fluff Puff Peaks, swooping down from their upside down nests to attack you or randomly give you coins, which I guess is nice. These really remind me of the owl from Super Mario 64 or even the Pokemon Hoot Hoot, but either way, because it isn't used much, it's not that memorable. Also, I want to look at the lava-based foe called the Little Scorcher, reminding me a lot of the Fry guy all the way back from Super Mario Bros. 2. Found here only in the Deep Magma Bog Palace. These things move on the floors and on the ceilings, stopping when they spot you to spit fireballs at you that you should be able to easily dodge, but if you do want to defeat them, there are water jugs laid out everywhere for you to do so. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to my channel. If you've noticed, I release daily shorts on this channel, so check those out, give them a like, and leave a comment what you think about them. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!